welcome Brennan Utley.
The piece that I'm going to read today is from a book that I just finished, which is exciting. I'm actually planning on turning it into a website. So although I finished it recently, I'm still editing and coding right now. But I'm hoping that by February to have the website available to the public and everything. But anyways, to give you guys some background about it, it is about a music festival that goes through a mysterious transformation. It's called the Enlist Festival of Music, Arts, and Technology. And the book is called Endless, and this is a section from it called the Alphabet Parade. People begin to collect outside the belly of the whale, the festival's primary cafe and bar. One of them is John Doe. John Doe, yes, that's his God-given name, has hoisted his grinning son, John Doe Jr., onto his shoulders to see the Alphabet Parade, an iconic Enlist festival event, a parade of various collected groups from the festival who, in tandem with the marketplace, parade in formation to promote their various causes and idiosyncratic interests. John and John Jr. are squared up on the western top triad boundary point between the regular RV campsites, the VIP RV section, and the festival's entrance, just outside a set of porta potties, just in case John Jr. gets the sudden urge to tinkle. He's still learning. The air is crisp and the sun is radiating. Sunscreen has been vigorously applied, especially in John Jr.'s case, who is basically a reflective sheet if not properly attended to. He's also forcibly donning a pair of earplugs, and tiny, adorable sunglasses have been delicately placed on his soft eyes beneath his mangy, in need of a bowl-cut hair. The first group of the parade, the Association of Angry Advocates Against Aggression, is already underway. John Doe is listless and sleepy, but John Jr. is captivated. The tone of the group alone fascinates him. "We abhor aggression in any form," one of the group's parade members announces on a megaphone, "and we're angry about it, pissed in fact." "Jeff," a fellow member opposite him with a megaphone of his own response, "come on now, you're getting a little aggressive." Jeff's manner quickly changes into even more heated frustration. "How many times am I going to have to go over this? If we're aggressively against aggression, it's justified. If anything, you're bringing down the cause." No. If we're against aggression, then we don't act aggressively. End of discussion. Both were still using their megaphones. "We have to fight fire with fire." "Why? That makes no sense in this situation." "None. We both have buckets of water. Why not put it out? Tell me." "Hey now," a third participant pipes in with yet another megaphone. "You're both getting too aggressive. You need to tone it down." "Hey, Dad," John Jr. pokes at his father's shoulder. "What are they arguing about?" "Something very unimportant, son," John Doe says. The A's continue their asinine arguments, and the banner for the B's begins. The bumbling bunch of bureaucratic babies march onto the scene. This is a collection of government employees decked out in adult diapers and, in some cases, full-on baby suit-style costumes. Pacifiers dangle from mouths. Handshake rattlers. Baby talk fills the morning air. "Where? Where?" one of the bureaucrats cries out. "You should see the paperwork we have to deal with. Where? Stacks on stacks and stacks. Somebody get me a binky. I went poo-poo in my diaper." "And you wonder why we would do such a thing?" the central figure of the group, leading them from the front of the line, calls out, their booming voice helping them to communicate without the need of a megaphone. "Well, I'll tell you. We like it. There's something about returning to this premature form that we just adore. And it's not a sexual thing, at least not for most of us. Maybe it is for Gerald back there." All of the eyes of the crowd snap to find Gerald. It's immediately obvious who he is. He just has that look about him where you can just tell he's getting off on it. "Goo goo gaga," Gerald cries out. John Jr. is clapping his hands, completely in love with the infantilizing costumes before him. John Doe grits his teeth, terrified of getting a question about this particular set of marchers, with which he will be ill-equipped to answer. John Jr. remains silent, however, totally engrossed in the scene. The B's pass by and are replaced by the crazed communion of Capra conspirators. This section of the parade is clearly more prepared than the previous two. There are a number of papier-mâché floats of iconic Frank Capra characters, from It Happened One Night to It's a Wonderful Life to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Instead of using megaphones, the group is carrying 1930s-style director megaphones with Capper written on the side. Many believed him to be a crony capitalist filmmaker overly obsessed with nationalism in America, one of the crazed communion contemplates. But these theorists are clearly wrong. They failed to confront Capper's own self-consciousness, his satirical edge, his heartfelt sincerity, the likes of which is still yet to be overtaken within the world of cinema. Expectedly, John Jr. isn't quite as impressed with this group. John Doe can always tell when his little boy starts to get a little bored. It's okay, John Doe reassures him. Let's see what the next one has to offer. Upon saying this, John Jr. squints and peeks at the next group headed toward them after the Capra conspirators. He notices fireworks and lets out a little squeak. John Doe smiles. The crazed communion of Capra conspirators pushes forward and are replaced by the banner of the determined deniers of the denial of death. At first, the group seems benign. It involves a float with sparklers surrounding its edges, which is why John Jr. is bouncing up and down. But each of the members atop the float are also adorned with hooded black robes and skies resembling the Grim Reaper. One of them speaks into a microphone. "You can't deny it, folks. You and everyone you know will come to an end. You will die. Your loved ones will die. Everything, all the time is dying. Life is lost. All things will be lost. Accept it. Accept it." Every Grim Reaper yells this aloud to the crowd. Accept it. Accept it. Accept it. John Doe's throat fills with bile. He's forced to hold back tears. He pulls his little boy down from off his shoulders and shrinks away from the crowd. With John Jr.'s little hand in his own, he leads his son behind the porta potties, trying to escape from the scene. John Doe's wife, Jamie Doe, her name was not, in fact, Jane, proof that we don't get to choose who we love, had passed away the previous year, making the screaming of accepting loss of loved ones particularly triggering for John. He starts to cry in front of his little boy. He wants to be a bigger man to his son, but at the current moment, he is unable. This festival was where he and Jamie Doe had met one another, where they had married even. And he'd never missed it, and he wasn't going to. And this was, in fact, John Jr.'s first time to be brought to the festival. But none of this had made the terrible loss of his wife any easier for him to bear. If anything, it had only made it harder. "What's wrong, Dad?" John Jr. asks, full of the strange empathy that occasionally pours out of young children. "Acceptance, little John, acceptance." John Doe sniffs. "Is it Mama?" John Jr. asks. "I think so. She loved you very much, little Johnny." He picks up his son for a brief moment and holds him in his arms, unable to think of anything except how much of a miracle it is that this little boy is still, for now, with him in his arms. He loves him more than anything in the whole wide world.
I think